Here's another practical tip, kind of a sneaky tip. Kind of like I think I did a video about saying thank you to throw someone off guard. This is more to deal with a belligerent patient or a patient. Now they have to be a little bit with it. If they're completely demented, and that's a term. It's not being insultive. It's just they have suffered from dementia. That's what it is. They can't be, if they're completely off, they're not even going to recognize that you're there. Right? At least the person has to be with it enough to acknowledge that you're there in their presence, and be able to communicate with you. But like saying thank you throws them off. When they're hardwired. A lot of the older population are hardwired to say, "Oh, you're welcome," or be polite, since they're children. So babies, they're taught this. The more, not everybody, obviously. I'm not saying 100%. I'm just saying the majority. So you'll have a good chance of just stutter stepping them and throwing them off. Another thing, and it's helpful on a number of levels, is I've made the suggestion of carrying a notepad, just a little one of those little, I don't know, 2x4 inches. I don't know, those little notepad. I don't have. It basically fits in my pocket. Excuse me. Spiral bound, and you can write your little notes on it, and it helps for jotting down information that on the patient. I use it mostly for myself. I use it for MedPass. It's in my triple check for MedPass for safety. I write it down in a number of spots, and then I do it a third time on my notepad, and that's my quick reference in my pocket that I go back. Okay, these are the meds I need. These are already in the WOW or COW, or these are hang on the peg, and I'm going to grab them. Whatever, I have to get to the Omnicell or Pyxis to get them, or I gotta chase pharmacy for them, etc., etc. Or these are lab values I have to keep track of, or what have you. Oh, these are notes. Sometimes someone needs a sheet of paper. They say, "Hey, I got to write down a number." Here, I'm the only one with paper for whatever reason. But the trick that I'm going after is when you're dealing with someone who is belligerent or just disruptive, and it doesn't even have to be someone who's demented, by the way. I've done this trick to totally with it family members that were just whatever, or people just being disruptive. Nothing wrong with them at all. They're just being disruptive. You're gonna get that. You start taking notes, like you're interviewing them, like a police officer. I never say I'm a police officer. I say I'm right. If anything, actually, a couple times recently, I've said I'm writing down your statement to give to the police. They need to corroborate it, and whatever tap dance you have to do to diffuse the situation. This is stuff that, even though we get situational training, violence response training, they don't tell you this stuff. This is stuff that you do before it gets violent. You're looking to de-escalate. Like I say, I don't want to call the RRT. I'd rather avoid the RRT completely and hit it off at the pass. I pride myself in doing that. I'll call the RRT. That's something our facility wants to emphasize is don't be afraid to call the RRT. Nobody's going to get mad. Rather you call it and be wrong than not call it. And, so I not that I dance a fine line. I say, no, I'll call it. And my bosses know that. But I'd rather avoid the whole situation. Obviously, I want my patient to be healthy. So anyway, you want to avoid the violent situation. And how do you do that? You de-escalate it before it even gets to that point. And I've done this trick where people are upset and whatever, and I remember on an interview question, they said, "What do you do for someone? What's the first thing you do when someone being belligerent or attacked? What's your first reaction?" And I gave an unusual answer. I said to my bosses, I got the job. I said to them, "I listen." They're like, "What?" It's because most of the time somebody has a beef. whenever they're being belligerent or they're causing some kind of disruption, it's because they actually have some kind of beef in their mind. Whether it's valid or not, in their mind, they're valid. They got a bone to pick with whoever, Uncle Sam, me, the doctor, or whoever, whatever, they have a bone to pick, and it's valid in their head. Listen to them. Let them air it out. Let them air out their grievance. Because most times people are just feeling that they're not given a chance to, and they're frustrated. So I listened, and that was a good answer. They liked it. They really liked it. They're like, wow, okay. I heard that interviewer even say that. He was like, wow, a good answer. And I was like, yeah, that's what I do, though. I did that when I did that as a business owner, because sometimes I was the arbitrator. It's like kindergarten. So that's what I learned to do. And it emphasizes it that you're listening to somebody when you're actually taking notes. People feel like they're empowered. You're empowering them. When they're lashing out, it's because they don't feel like they're in control. Give them that power. It's okay. We're de-escalating. We're waiting for security to get there. We're waiting for the police department to get there. We're waiting for help to get there. Your fellow teammates, your workers, your co-workers to get there, because you're either alone in the room or you're outnumbered in the room, because it's 3 or 4 big burly family members and it's just little you. You might be a short, squat Chinese guy, or you might be a very petite, small female, or very petite, small male, whatever. You're alone. Even if you're a big guy, you're not going to take on a gang. You're not taking on a group of bikers. You're trying to stall, diffuse the situation. Take notes. At the very least, really listen to what they say and take down notes. I've done that. And they're rattling on like, yeah, my stocks have been stolen. But stocks, not socks. Stocks, as in like GE, Ford, Tesla, Microsoft. They're talking about their stocks being stolen. I was like, okay. I take it down. It diffused them. They didn't have to go to the Cyprexa. They didn't have to go to the Ativan. The guy calmed down, sat back in bed. That's all you need. So it's a bit of a cheat, but it works. It works a lot more times than it doesn't. I would say 90% of the time it works for me. So it's a little trick, and it costs you nothing than a sheet of paper, and but it's better than a 8x11 sheet of paper. That looks weird for them. When they see you do that, you're like a reporter jotting down notes, and they're being interviewed. Okay, so that's the whole trick of it. That visual in their mind triggers something. All right, good luck with it.